Welcome, Tales of Glory listeners. I'd like to welcome back my three listeners and a dog. We are on the episode 116 today. We are back to a fireside chat, kind of a nice break between our biblical study of Exodus and my book, A Field Guide to Spiritual Warfare, which we'll return to after this episode. And we're going to do an M16 Ministries road trip. We're going to pile into the M16 Ministry Mobile and head out to the haunted town of Locke, California. It's an old Chinese camp town along the Sacramento Delta, and it's notoriously haunted. In fact, it was an episode that was done back in February 2016 in our friends, the Ghost Adventures. They went through this town, and I kind of had the opportunity to stop off at this town on the way home from one of my earlier adventures today, but we'll get into that. We're getting ahead of ourselves. First of all, let's pile into this M16 Ministry Mobile, and let's head out to the town of Locke. And here we go. Look at those bumpy California roads, man. We're going across a 100-year-old drawbridge right here. They don't build stuff like they used to. Here we go. Crossing the Sacramento Delta, heading our way to the historic town of Locke. Actually, Locke I encountered on the way back from this trip. My initial stop was in Roseville, California, because I went to go see something on my bucket list. It was the old Big Boy locomotive. And there's the money shot right there. Union Pacific Big Boy locomotive 4014. That was the main reason I went out to Roseville to see this train. But I figured on the way back, I could probably stop off and hit Locke. Locke was something kind of interesting. It's actually the second time I made this recording. If you notice, we go to a field guide to spiritual warfare.blogspot.com for episode 116. The episodes for YouTube and the episode for Rumble and Spotify don't match. I had to re-record for YouTube because I had some copyright restricted stuff from Ghost Adventures, an initial one, and YouTube totally spit it out. They wouldn't allow me to use clips from Ghost Adventures for educational purposes. So I had to make a specific YouTube for you guys on YouTube viewers so you could see this. So here we go. We're heading to the town of Locke. And we're back to our original picture we had here with the first put boots down the town of Locke. It was kind of an interesting little town. It goes back to the 1800s. It was primarily a Chinese camp, Chinese town with Chinese inhabitants. And part of it were brothels and part of it were gambling casinos. And there was a lot of activity. It was a Wild West out here. Again, this is along the Sacramento Delta, probably about 40 miles northeast of my current residence here in Northern California. I always wanted to go out to Locke, but I'm having spiritual discernment. Sometimes it's tuned in very, sharply. I could pick up on towns that kind of like tug you to go see these towns. And I don't like spiritual tugs because I don't know what's doing it. I know it's not God. So when this showed up on the radar with Ghost Adventures back in 2016, I think it was season 12, episode 5 or something like that they did the town of Locke and did their walkthrough. I thought, well, all these days I have to go out there and check this out for myself. And I like to go to a place where we go in behind the Ghost Adventures and see for ourselves what's going on. So Locke's kind of interesting. It's kind of beautiful. It has, it's kind of an eclectic little art town. But the day I went there on Saturday, I thought the town was closed. Nobody was there. But it actually was open. I walked in and out all these buildings on my own without, having to run into any people. I ran into a few people I wanted to talk about and ask them questions about Locke and ask them about if it was haunted. And the consensus was, yes, it is haunted. So here we are. It was a long drive back from Roseville, so I kind of had my soda. I had to go to the bathroom really bad. My bladder was full. So I got out of the car, and that's the first thing I started looking for was a restroom or something. But, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I mean, you walk up and down Locke, it's like these little alleys and stuff and places, like little antiques and stuff stuck on the side. You see on the walls there's a lot of historical information. The town itself looks very decrepit, like it's about ready to fall in, but there's still people living here and it's still something very active. But like I said, when I was boots on the ground here, I had to go find a bathroom. My bladder was hurting. So I ended up walking down and finding these two women selling kittens on... they weren't selling kittens, they were trying to find homes for their cats. And so I ended up talking to these ladies, the only people I saw on the street initially. I walked all the way down to the end of the street to Locke to talk to these ladies. I say, hey, by the way, is there a place to use a restroom? One lady says, yeah, you can use my store right across the street over there. And so, she goes, yeah, be careful of the toilet. It's old. Like, yeah, okay, whatever. So it's, like I said, I did the initial walkthrough for the streets here to try to dial in and feel stuff spiritual first. I like to do that, get a feel for the town, what's going on in a discernment walk. Jesus, what I'm picking up on. If I was picking up anything bad, I would have got back in my car and got the heck out of there. But initially, when I got out of the car, I did a first walkthrough, and there wasn't a whole lot going on in the first walkthrough. I call this my initial walkthrough. I'm getting primed. I'm priming the pump for discernment here. Here we go. The town of Locke, so far discernment-wise, I'm not really picking anything up. This is supposed to be a very haunted town. And at the moment, I'm not picking anything up. So I'm just kind of walking up and down in the alley right now, actually. See if I can start picking up on stuff or dialing in. See how haunted this place is. So like I said, at this initial walkthrough right here, I didn't really pick up anything. Like, nothing was, hitting on the old sensors there, discernment. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just walk down the edge of the street here and see if I can find somebody. There's two guys across the street. I think they were tourists. That's the only people I ever saw in Locke, was those two guys walking down the streets. But I guess it's a busy town. I know bikers come through here and stop off at Owl's Bar and stuff like that here. But, it's... On this day I was here, it was this last Saturday, July 13th. There was nothing going on. It was probably a good prime time to stop off for a spiritual discernment walk through a town. It's kind of interesting. So my next stop was down the street. Like I said, I met with this lady here. We'll see. She's kind of talking kind of loudly here. It's in the red halter top. She was the one that pointed me into her store, the bookstore, and I went to do a discernment walk. So let's do this. It's like I went to use the restroom, and I was really picking up on nothing. And I went to the restroom, and something about bathrooms and stuff too. It's spiritual. I don't know what it is, but that's when my first initial alarm started going off. Started picking up stuff on radar. What's going on here? Let's get that. In this store, the strange cargo, and I was speaking to this woman over here in the red, and she let me borrow her bathroom, and I walked out of the bathroom. In this thing, in midsection, I started feeling pressure on my stomach. Pressure on the stomach here. Pressure on the stomach. Right back in there. Right over that. The guy saying the bookcase. I felt pressure on my stomach there, but I'm not going to do it in the store to freak people out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so she told me to go on down to this other place down here, the Chinese museum. And she mentioned something about there might be the presence of Chinese water spirits in this town, and that was her story on this. This was a very heavily white. Now, we're talking about water spirits. We're not talking about mermaids or stuff like that. That's running rampant right now. Our marine spirits, we like to talk about too, like in the New Age Christian deliverance ministries are out there right now. And that's what I like to call them, what I call the Las Vegas shows. We're talking about water spirits. This is Buddhism, right? There's spirits in the water, and there's stuff going on here. Voodoo has that too. So there's like these water spirits that, if you look on the looking at this one, at the right-hand side of the street, behind the right-hand side of the street is a road. And on the side of the road, there's the Sacramento Delta. So that's where we're at. That's our geological location right now. So let's continue on with this walkthrough. It's kind of interesting right here. Al the Wop's beer, Acme beer. There's something interesting here too. There's a Chinese population. The females here are mostly white women, and there's a lot of stuff done to them. So yeah, there's Owl's place. Owl's place picking up stuff right here. Kind of in the body, kind of picking up sensing. It's like just a crazy vibe here. Owl's place. It's probably pressure and probably in the head. Here. Pressure in the head is where I felt down. There's the blue sign. Now, Owl's bar was locked. I wanted to go in there. Usually bars have a lot of spiritual activity, but this time it was locked, so I didn't go in through a walkthrough. That would have been a cool one. I may have to go back later on or something. Who knows? It's a long drive out there, so I have to have a reason to be back out here if I make another 40-mile drive out to Locke here. But it was an interesting town. It was interesting. Ying Museum. We're going to go in here and check this one out. What's cool about these museums is their buildings are left with the artifacts and materials in them as they were back in the early 1900s when the Chinese highly populated this place. So you could feel some sort of spiritual stuff, and you feel stuff where it's at and where it's not at. So it's kind of cool going through these museums doing this. So let's pick up the walkthrough through the museum. We are in the Ying Association Museum. Here we go. You can feel stuff. You can feel it here. I can feel pressure in my head.
Pressure in the head.
Feeling it.
Slight pressure.
Back and here's me, Mike. I feel it right up here in my head. I feel like a slight pressure. I was feeling the stomach before outside, but this is light pressure in the head. So there you go.
Look at that Bigfoot hat. Look at that. Check that out.
Let's flip this back around here. But yeah, you can feel like it could be because of the artifacts here. Don't know. But you can feel stuff. Not so much now. Maybe it's the sense, the smell. This was stuff originally from the times. Chinese lantern. Here we go. What's back in here? Okay, now we're feeling it. Now we're feeling it. Feeling the chest. Feel it in the chest here.
Probably feel it through this video too. If you have discernment, sometimes you can feel stuff through the videos too.
Doing discernment walkthroughs.
That's why we say spiritual stuff can come through the cameras, man.
Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, you can definitely feel something. I guess it's like their old kitchen or something's back here. But yeah, definitely some sort of oppressions here.
You'll probably hear in this one and probably in the next clip also where I talk out to the spirit, say, I'm not here to communicate with you, because as Christians, we don't communicate with the dead. I'm not here to kick you out. I'm not here to cause a fight with you, and I'm not allow anything to attach me and come home with me. I'm spiritually here just primarily for training and discernment walkthroughs to sharpen my discernment skills. That's the only reason I'm here, not to communicate with the dead. Let's continue on. We're going to hop over to where are we at next? We are now entering the Dai Loy Gambling House Museum. This one was interesting because this is where Ghost Adventures teams went in and things went off the hook. If you go look at a field guide spiritual warfare.blogspot.com, I tagged the original clips I had in this video before I had to remove them for YouTube. But you'll see. So pay attention to some of the things I picked up on here, because Ghost Adventures, the little toys, and they started communicating with the dead and stuff like that, and places I picked up on in this place. And I'll point out where it's at. Let's take a look. Let's roll that bean footage, Mike.
We're at the Dai Loy Museum here in Locke. This was left exactly how the people left it. Artifacts here. Whoa, you could feel it here. I can feel it in my head again. I can feel depression in my head. This town Locke's supposed to be incredibly haunted.
Sometimes you feel it back here.
Discernment walk, you just feel something's here, right? There's something here, like more so back over here. What's going on here? Objects. What are the objects here? This space right here, wherever it is, man, it's doing it. It's doing it.
Feeling it.
And it fades off. It's like a compass. It's right now kind of nothing. See how the floor is kind of crooked? That's not the camera. It actually bends up. I'm in the middle of the sinking floor. I see it with this table here.
If you watch the clip, the back wall we're looking at, look, this floor goes uphill. It's kind of funky. Look at look at the angles of the shot right here. See where the window sills are at right here against the wall, and all of a sudden the lock for the double door right there, the fire extinguisher, and the whole thing starts going uphill. We look at uphill towards that little black desk up there, far end. That's where that psychic got shoved against the wall here. You know, the Ghost Adventure guys brought psychic with her, and she got shoved against the wall. But anyhow, let's continue on with this, because this room was the most interesting for me of all the places I walked through.
This table's going downhill. Here we go. Not so much. Okay, again, boom, there's something right there.
Yep.
So again, we're not here to communicate with any spirits. We're just doing a walkthrough.
Hear that? We're not here to communicate with any spirits. We're here for a walkthrough.
We're just here to do a walkthrough. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. What we got here? The lottery room. You're feeling it here too.
The lottery room. This is where you'll see the clip I provided on a field guide spiritualwarfare.blogspot.com for episode 116, where Zach Bagans and I guess Dylan or that person, they had their EVPs. They were getting vocal responses out of this. I went back after I went to this walkthrough and looked at the videos. I went back and pulled up. I couldn't find their episode online, so I only could find out fragments of it. But it was cool to see when I pinpointed this earlier today that this same spot, Zach and the other person he was with, Dylan Lee from the Today Show, where their guest was, they started getting EVPs in here. I don't walk through with my toys. I just walk through for discernment, because I walk through this treating like if I'm been called out to this house to do a blessing, expel spirits, how do you locate them and find them? This is the way you do it. You got to sharpen your skills.
But I only recommend it for people in spiritual warfare ministry. You know, like, well, I'm going to go sharpen my skills. If God didn't draft you into, not call you into this, He didn't draft you into this, you know darn well, don't go out these places and do stuff like this. You don't need to do this. But I'm called out regularly to different spots that have demonic activity or infested houses or hauntings, or if I'm doing this prayers of liberation, I can feel the demonic manifestations. This is how I develop my keen sense by, I call it going to the gun range and praying for live ammo. So here we go. Let's continue on. Some sort of oppressions here. Right? Here is lottery room. Oppression. I feel oppression. I said it there. Wooden jugs. Thank you. There's items here. Stuff here. Storeroom. I felt it more so back here. This was the gambling casino. It goes downhill. That's the actual. I don't know if I can capture it properly. Look at this level. It's going downhill. It's going downhill. Yeah, it's going downhill. Whoa. Okay, so it shows the pictures, right? It looks like they either built it that way or it sank that way. This whole building just going down. Early craftsmanship, huh? We're going downhill here. All right, that's all I got for that. But there is stuff here, and it shows up. Jesus, thank you, Lord. Thank you for letting us walk through these places. Again, nothing comes home with us. Nothing attaches. This strictly for our ministry target practice. Right, nothing comes home with us. Practice. Yep, sermon target practice. All we're here for. For excitement, when I'm here to document. I'm only videoing to show you guys how this is done and what we do with their walkthroughs and what we sense and what it feels like. I hope these videos will help you understand that. Here we are putting ourselves off. Clean ourselves off. Drop some money in there. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. And again, we take nothing with us. We clean ourselves off in Jesus' mighty name, and we exit this room. Let's check out some more stuff here in Locke. So as you can see, Locke's kind of an interesting little place to visit. It's probably a cool place for photographers to visit. So I kind of had free reign to walk up and down Locke as I wanted to and please. It was kind of cool. So I'm going down buildings, going down alleyways, as you've seen. And one of the more interesting characters here was Martha, the owner of the bed and breakfast inn down here. She's done quite a few things with hauntings and stuff here, and she's aware of the hauntings in this place. So let's go ahead and hear her story because she was kind of fun to talk with. So I was asking her about, is this place haunted? What's going on here? So what goes on here?
So the ghost that I think might be here, I'm sure she's a very friendly ghost. And we have a friendly ghost that plays the piano. She's really good at playing the piano. But
look at the hat.
See, she's sitting under that hat right there. See that hat?
Yeah, look at it.
There she is. She's moving for you. Anyway.
She was a kick.
There's some
now
ghosts
she gets serious.
that
this is
sit
serious.
on the beds at night. When I come in the morning, it's like, wait a minute, I just made this bed and nobody slept in it last night. So why does it have a print where somebody sat? So, might be a ghost.
That's cool. Thank
Friendly
you.
ghost.
Friendly ghost, yeah. The best kind to have. Thank you.
So board members you have to watch out for.
She was more afraid of the human board members of the town than she was of the ghosts. Kind of funny. That kind of was the temperament I felt there too. Because let's look at this. Kind of my conclusions after the Locke walkthrough. I felt a lot in the Dai Loy gambling casino. I felt quite a bit of a spiritual presence there. And in fact, if you go back and look to a field guide spiritualwarfare.blogspot.com, you look at the Ghost Adventures when they were in that same building. Who was it? Was it Jay or somebody got scratched horribly? And it was like they put a rash around his neck. So I don't know what they were doing. I felt a strong presence there. Like there was spiritual activity, like stuff gets moved on its own, stuff like that. But I didn't feel it was as dark as the Ghost Adventures led us to believe. So I was curious just by walking those grounds if they did some conjuring beforehand before they shot the videos to stir stuff up that was demonic. And that's why they got attacked. These guys always do stupid stuff. You know, we are professionals. No, you're not. You don't go stirring stuff up. That could be my only guess. But then again, too, a lot of times I've heard, too, that a lot of this stuff becomes much more active at night, where it could get to this level. But I kind of feel what I walked through and what I felt in this
this environment is that it was stirred up and conjured for the Ghost Adventures for their episode they filmed her 8 years ago. I was actually talking with Martha about this stuff too, and she said sort of the same thing, but she offered to take me on a flashlight tour later on. And I was thinking, wow, I should bring some ministers back with me. We should go on a flashlight tour and just, train ministers for discernment to walk through and give access to these haunted places. That's the best way to train discernment ministers who are going into exorcism, who are going into blessing homes are defiled, because we're not going to look for this. We're not there to contact the dead, which is forbidden. It's an abomination of God. But we do need to know how to sense spirits and when they're present. And this is a good activity, but I only recommend it for people who are actively moving in this ministry. It's not for church. Oh, I want to come too. I've brought a lot of people on these years ago thinking, okay, everybody's equipped to do this. And I've had to de-slime people after these trips. So in fact, I had a cleansing dream where I fought a demon on Saturday night after this trip. So I know through my body, we encounter stuff. I probably got slimed in these places, but my spirit knows how to handle it, and it beat the crap out of the demon in a cleansing dream at night. And that's the sort of level you have to be at, where you just have to trust what Jesus is doing. You're not there for kicks. You're not there for your little EVPs. You're not there for paranormal research. You're just there, and you're walking the spiritual side of things of Sheol. Is this some sort of weird cosmic geography that's both on Earth and the dead walk through here? We don't know. Don't know. A lot of things are ambiguities, but it does help us to track it. In the event we're called to a place that's infested and needs to be cleansed. This place could be cleansed, but they don't want it cleansed. So, won't cleanse it. They don't seem to be bothered by it, which is interesting, but it is what it is. So anyhow, yeah, so I recommend go looking at those videos, because my experience is different from what the Ghost Adventure guys did. I know those guys are messed up. I know every time Zach steps on location, he gets possessed, right? I think because he needs an exorcism. He's overloaded with spirits and demons, and he goes from one haunting to another, and he's a collector of spirits, and they just keep piling on top of him. And that's why he sees outbreaks and behaviors. I don't know if you guys saw the Demon House. Was it director's cut or extra cut? It's on, is it Freevee or it's on Amazon? One of them's on free right now, where Zach got possessed and he went in with an exorcist, and the exorcist dug up the artifacts used for the ritual to conjure the demons in the demon house he bought over in Illinois. And the demons possessed him, and he went back and buried all the artifacts the exorcist was going to ritually pray over and destroy. And the exorcist goes, I don't think you're in a healthy spot to be with me here. I wouldn't have brought him either. But then again, the exorcist should have bolted when Zach brought a psychic with him. He should have left then and there. But that's live and learn. I wonder how to reach out to that guy. I probably will. But that's just showing where Zach's at and why we see things probably more sensationalized. This is a location where the dead seem to walk the earth. And we don't know why or what it is. Could have been Chinese beliefs or religions or that summoned them, like ancestor worship. That could bring these spirits to walk around and stuff here too. Hard to know, but we got to clean ourselves off, and we know there's demonic activity around wherever there's the death, the Sheol, location of Sheol, or what the paranormal is called. It's a portal. They probably opened it. Who knows? We don't know. But anyhow, that's all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is the much shorter version. Go to a fieldguidespiritualwarfare.blogspot.com and watch the longer version of what's going on with Locke, because I had to reproduce this with all the Ghost Adventure shenanigans from that episode at the town of Locke removed, because it couldn't get past their AI. So you guys are amazing. I love you guys. Remember to be a blessing, make good choices. And if you like what we're doing here, help us out. Like I said, I still want to get a decent 4K camera to go and film this sort of stuff, either bring other ministers with me. I know I mentioned the other podcast of this episode 116 that I have a minister I work with, Catalina Lopez, and we do hauntings and we've done infested houses together. I like to get a good, decent camera. We'll have to film up our camera initially, off our phone cameras initially, and have us do a walkthrough and discern stuff to make training videos of this nature. But until then, or if you have a 4K camera, you can send us. We'd love it, But that's that. So if you want to donate to us and help us out here, you can go to a field guide, spiritualwarfare.blogspot.com. There's a PayPal button midway down on how to bless the ministry, or you can send it to PayPal using M16ministries at gmail.com.
to send a donation. But the one on a fieldguidedspiritualwarfare.blogspot.com, it doesn't charge for the donation, where the other normal ones will take 3%, whatever it is. Anyhow, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This was a shorter version. It was the M16 road trip out to the town of Locke. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you guys gleaned a lot off it and got some ideas on what spiritual discernment walkthroughs look like through infested buildings that you have to bless, and what it feels like walking through contaminated artifacts. So God bless you guys. It's the M16 Bishop from the M16 HQ, Reverend Mike, checking out. Amen.